We all know someone who plans really far in advance for Christmas, but what is planning for Christmas like if you are a local small business?
I suppose, honestly, for us, February.
I got my first catalogues for Christmas in March.
So that will start the end of July, beginning of August.
We still go to Top Drawer in September. We're still thinking about Christmas then. And I know that everybody goes on about Christmas in July, but we tend to be a bit later.
So for us, that's about planning, which I started about 3 months ago.
At the moment, frantically trying to produce product, and I've got it completely wrong.
I feel like I'm already behind. I do get really excited about Christmas.
We get people into the Christmas spirit from December.
Welcome to season 2 of the Leighton Buzzard Local podcast. I've got 6 great episodes coming up for you, which cover everything that makes Christmas in Leighton Buzzard so special and magical, with a focus on our local small businesses and community organisations. I think I've always felt like having a small business means that you're thinking about Christmas probably pretty much from the moment it finishes the year before, but that's definitely not the case for all small businesses, as Luke from 3 Counties Spirits tells us.
At the moment, frantically trying to produce product, and I've got it completely wrong. Like I've nearly run out of quite a lot, and I'm very temperature dependent, so the fermentations. So now we come into winter, my fermentations create less alcohol, which means I get less product, so I have to do more. So I'm frantically trying to produce some product. I've got loads of events coming up, which I need to get ready for. It's all a bit touch and go at the moment, and plus my supplier for molasses is out of stock until 2 weeks' time, and it takes me 3 weeks to turn out a product, so it's getting a bit close, yeah. I have not planned this well. This always happens to me at this time of year. Christmas just comes out of nowhere. It's like we're in the summer, and everyone's like, it's a long time away. Even when I had the restaurants, it was suddenly just like, bang, we need to start doing some content and menu planning and things like that, and it just catches you by surprise. But this is my first proper Christmas in this business.
And if you are planning far in advance, it can be that process is something that really builds the foundations of what it is that gives your business an identity.
My name's Jo, and I run Kings Road Fashions. I suppose, honestly, for us, February, because we are looking at our clothing collections. So although Christmas gifting is only a small part of what we do, the Christmas clothing collections are viewed at the same sort of time as all of our buying. So we always have that in our mind. And then we revisit it again during September, which is another key buying period for gifting and small pickups and accessories.
Yeah. And what sort of things are you looking for? Because obviously if you're looking at stuff in February, like how are you holding Christmas in your mind so far in advance?
Well, actually in February you're not long out of it. So that's the one thing you're in a period of reflection on what worked well and what you didn't have enough of. So that's quite good. And also, it is a reflection of where you hope to be, I think, and you can only kind of work on how it was. Were people going out a lot? Were people gifting more or less in bigger or different ways? So you take that information and then you sort of, you still, again, put a little bit of guesswork into it because that's what you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it a fun thing to do?
Yeah, absolutely. All the buying is fun. I think often, if you're in this sort of business, that's what you're drawn to because it's how you set your identity. I think, what you choose and, going out there, it's almost like a big shopping trip for you. So, when you get that little magical moment of, oh, yeah, this is brilliant. I can see people loving this, that really lifts you and it sort of inspires you to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it difficult to keep things under wraps between sort of February? Do you want to tell everyone about Christmas immediately?
Sometimes. We're often like that with a lot of our things. So occasionally, we're really excited about something and we're not very good at keeping it under our hats.
How big is Christmas for you as a small business?
It's pretty big. For us, in terms of gifting and people buying for others for Christmas, there is quite an uplift, and we often see different people or extra people at that time of year, so we do work towards it.
It's our absolutely busiest time of year. We probably, the months of November and December can be as large as the whole entire rest of the year. My name's Alice and I am the manager of Book, Leighton Buzzard's only independent bookshop. It's pretty manic preparing for Christmas in the bookshop because we work with not just the customers that come in the shop, but we also support local schools. We work with some local charities, and we're just trying to provide the best service at Christmas as possible. And we're a tiny team, so there's a lot to do in terms of preparing. The most important thing for us is making sure that everybody can get their hands on really good books as gifts for Christmas. So I got my first catalogues for Christmas in March, so a long time ago. So we already sort of have an eye on which titles are coming out and what are going to be the big new titles with loads of hype around that time of year. But it is silly season. October publishing goes bonkers, so that's when I'll really start to focus on exactly what I'm going to stock. We'll have an idea before then of some of the key titles, but the most important thing is trying to find those sort of clever gifts and making sure that we're stocking things that are different to what you might get in Morrison's, Tesco's, your supermarkets. That's what we can offer. We also try and source as many possible special editions and signed copies, which is wonderful that we get access to that from our publishers. I've been reading like mad because one of the other ways that we choose what we're going to stock is we get sent proofs. So when those proofs come through, I try and read as many as I can, and then that helps me decide what we're going to stock. Yeah. Sometimes you get it absolutely right, and sometimes it can go a bit, you're not quite so. You can go take a punt on a slightly niche title, and you might sell loads of copies, and it's really good. But yeah, there's a risk. And because we're in silly season, I mean, the volume of titles being released in October is like 4 times the volume that get released in other months. It's bonkers for publishing as well. Of course, because authors are trying to get their books in at Christmas time. So from a point of view of looking at what's coming out, it's also, everything's scaled up in terms of more work, essentially, when we come up to Christmas. But we've got some new offerings as well this year, which I'm really excited about, which will kind of hopefully to help people get all of the books that they need for Christmas as well.
And so what's it like if you are preparing so far in advance? Does it feel like it's...
like you might want to vomit?
Well, yeah. Or I was also going to say, like, is it difficult to decide... I mean, I suppose for you, there are like some traditional things that people are coming to you for, but if there are new things or trends or what, is it difficult to decide what people are going to want that far in advance?
Hello, I'm Helen. I am the owner of Bits and Buds Florist. Do you know, it's so bonkers. You start seeing like the trends that are coming through almost instantly after the Christmas you've just done, which is insane. But obviously I follow trade accounts and things as well, and some of the kind of trend setters, if you like, as well. So I quite often have my eye on that right from January onwards. And for me, Christmas is a massive deal. I love it. It's brilliant, and people spend their whole lives creating whole businesses just on Christmas. So I do follow a few of those, and I keep my little eyes open for what's going on. But yeah, so kind of start as soon as you've finished, you're starting looking at what's coming up next.
I also asked the same question of Luke at 3 Counties Spirits.
Are you looking for sort of trends or what's popular, or do you sort of flip that and think, no, actually, I've got these great ideas?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't tend to pay much attention. I like to be a bit of an outlier. I've always considered myself a bit of an outlier. But I don't, to be honest, look at anything. I just think of flavours that I like. That's how I've built my range. It's based on things that I enjoy. Christmas is coming. I love mince pies. So I'm making a mince pie rum. So yeah, it's just ideas. To be honest with you, I've not drunk much other rum. Traditionally a gin and whiskey drinker. I don't pay attention to what anyone else is doing in the industry. I don't care. Yeah. It's, I do things my way.
So for us, that's about planning, which I started about 3 months ago. My name's Jonathan Smith. There are 3 of us that own this business, the Bottle House. The change of season is change of beer style, so it then becomes stouts, not just stouts, but there's lots of breweries do Christmas releases, and actually not just breweries, distilleries and other things have their Christmas stuff, but they get it sorted months before, and they often do a pre-order release, which means that you have the opportunity to book it straight away and book your slot before it's even finished brewing. What I've learned the last 2 Christmases is if you don't, you think, I'll get it near at a time. You can get some of it, but half of it's gone. And that's the key stuff that draws people in. We deal direct for almost everything now. I don't go through wholesalers unless it's imports, which means they will contact me and say, "Oh, Jonathan, I had Yonder contacted me and said, we've got a green beer coming out. I thought you'd like this for Halloween," because they knew in the summer we had a blue beer off them that went down a storm. And so now I've got that relationship they're going to nudge me, which they do.
And even if your business is not one that is directly going to deal with people in the run up to Christmas, that doesn't mean that you're not planning for it.
My name is Charlotte Price and I am the founder of Hunt Fitness. Get excited. We get excited. We're not one of those gyms that decorate the gym in like November, so don't worry about that. But we just get people in the right headspace, I think. That's the big thing for us, is getting people to come down, have a bit of time where they feel like they're getting out of the madness and the stress of Christmas, to feel good mentally and physically. But we get people into the Christmas spirit from December. We play some Christmas songs. We wear Christmas hats on Christmas week. But we also, we break at Christmas, between Christmas and New Year, to give people some rest and recovery time with family. And we talk to people about the importance of rest and recovery. So we think that is really, really important to get that time really for them.
I'm Georgie Rule and I'm the owner of Body Rule Studio. So for us as a business, Christmas is a time where we try to celebrate our clients and our current client base, and also just really empower everybody to be able to move well and live well over Christmas with their families and enjoy it.
One thing that I kept hearing again and again from local business owners is that they're excited about Christmas too.
As a business, I feel like I'm already behind. But for us, I do get really excited about Christmas because we can offer quite a lot of things at this time of year. I'm Henny and I run the Refuel Leighton Buzzard. And I think the real juggle, as most businesses are having at the moment, is trying to plan to buy in, especially if you're retail, so planning to buy in that extra stock, but you don't want to be overbuying and be left with stuff that you're not going to shift. So for us, with the Christmas cake packs, I know they do really well. I roughly know that we kind of sell a certain amount each year, so I buy in the right amount of like sultanas, raisins, currants. And then again, with hampers, we are trying something a little bit different this year. So again, trying to just preset that, and also especially for us, it's getting it ready and photographing it, getting it out there so people think of us, because we're not necessarily what people first think of when they're thinking of gifting, and yet when it comes into their head and like, oh, that's brilliant, I can do a mix of chocolates in a jar, like that's amazing.
One of our best sellers though, and often starts selling in September, is Philip Bailey's Leighton Buzzard calendar.
Yeah.
And that is just, it's incredible how many people come in every year early, started asking for it before Philip's even got it ready for sales.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Carrie, and we are two halves of Happy Dashery in the workshop. So it's...
Yeah, the fact that we've actually already got them in stock and they've already been flying out is crazy. But it's brilliant because they go all over the world. So we know that they get sent to Brazil, Poland, Canada, America. It's just, it's amazing the different places that they go to.
Leighton Buzzard.
I was going to say Leighton Buzzard is going global.
We probably are a little bit more responsive than a lot of the bigger shops. We tend to, actually, when we still go to Top Drawer in September, we're still thinking about Christmas then. And I know that everybody goes on about Christmas in July, but we tend to be a bit later, don't we?
Yes, I think being a small business that actually doesn't have a large stock room, so we actually have to do the season as the season's there, rather than actually preparing and having it all in the stock room.
Yeah.
Does it help to be able to sort of feel your way into the season while you're buying it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the positives. I think the only thing is sometimes if we're buying a little bit too late, people don't either have the stock or there's a time delay, and then actually it doesn't come until the last few weeks, when actually we would have probably preferred it beginning of November.
But I think the thing is as well, though, we very much cater for the last minute Christmas buyers as well.
Yes.
Because like every year on year, I mean, I know we've only been doing it for sort of like 5 years, but every Christmas Eve we think, we're going to be dead. And actually we still get the last minute Christmas shoppers, and actually 9 times out of 10 it's actually us still running up and down the high street as well. Yeah, but I think actually being able to be responsive and actually still getting in things, so actually we still have stock on the shelves, I think that still helps us and our customer.
As always, when I speak to businesses locally, I was just struck by how many of our small local businesses are preparing for Christmas with us in mind. It was really wonderful to listen to their stories about how they get ready. In this series up until Christmas, I've got other episodes coming up about how small businesses help us prepare for Christmas, about how to have a sustainable or greener Christmas, and I'm also going to be looking into 2025 as well. So subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now and join me then.